If you've ever used a Bic pen, you may have noticed two tiny holes, one on the side of the pen's barrel and another at the top of the cap. They might seem inconsequential, perhaps just a quirk of design, but these small openings are actually the result of careful engineering. Their purpose? To ensure that every time you put pen to paper, the ink flows smoothly, reliably, and safely, no matter where you are or what conditions you're writing under. Let's begin by exploring the primary reason these holes exist: air pressure equalization. When you use a Bic pen, ink is gradually drawn out of the reservoir and down to the ballpoint tip. As this happens, the volume of ink inside the tube decreases, but the physical space inside the barrel remains the same. If no air were allowed to enter this space, a partial vacuum would form. This pressure difference would make it increasingly difficult for the ink to continue moving toward the tip. The result would be frustrating. The pen would begin to skip, producing faint or inconsistent lines, or might even stop writing altogether. On the other hand, if environmental factors, such as rising temperatures or altitude changes, caused air inside the barrel to expand, the pressure could increase and force ink out in unsightly blobs. The small hole in the barrel of the pen is the answer to these problems. Positioned strategically, it allows air to enter the ink tube as ink is used up, replacing the lost volume and equalizing the pressure with the atmosphere outside the pen. This simple feature ensures that, whether you're jotting a quick note at sea level or scribbling at high altitude on a mountain or an airplane, your pen will deliver a consistent, unbroken flow of ink. Now, turn your attention to the cap. At the top, you'll notice another tiny hole. While it also contributes to pressure equalization when the cap is on, its most important function is safety. Imagine a young child, curious and playful, accidentally swallowing a pen cap. Without a hole, the cap could completely block the airway, posing a grave risk of suffocation. The hole, however, provides a crucial passage for air. Even if the cap becomes lodged in the throat, the person can still breathe through the opening. This design meets international safety standards and has saved countless lives, a testament to how thoughtful engineering can have impacts far beyond mere writing convenience. Let's take a closer look at how the ballpoint pen itself works. Inside the transparent barrel of a typical Bic pen, a narrow ink tube runs from the top of the pen down to the tip, where a tiny ball sits in a socket. As you write, the ball rotates, picking up ink from the tube and depositing it onto the page. The ink is thick and viscous, designed to stay put unless drawn out by the ball's movement. For this system to work, three forces come into play: gravity, which helps pull the ink downward; capillary action, which draws ink through the narrow channel to the ball; and, most importantly, balanced air pressure. Without balanced pressure, gravity and capillary action can't do their job, and the pen will fail to write properly. Environmental factors can also wreak havoc on ink flow. Imagine leaving your pen in a hot car on a summer's day. The heat causes the air and ink inside the pen to expand. Without an outlet, this expansion can force ink out the tip, staining clothes or paper. The barrel hole acts as a vent, allowing excess air to escape and preventing messy leaks. Similarly, if you ascend to a high altitude, perhaps flying in an airplane, the air pressure outside drops. If the pressure inside the pen remains higher, ink could be pushed out uncontrollably. Once again, the hole allows internal pressure to adjust, ensuring your pen neither leaks nor dries out. The design specifics are just as fascinating. The barrel hole is carefully sized, large enough to permit airflow, but small enough to prevent ink from leaking out through it. In the classic BIC crystal pen, you can see this tiny round opening on the side. The cap's hole, meanwhile, is placed at the very top, unobtrusive yet life-saving. Even the ink tube itself is engineered to work in harmony with these features, remaining open at one end so air can easily replace spent ink. It's worth noting that not all pens solve the problem of pressure balance in the same way. Gel pens, for example, may use a follower, a gel-like plug that moves as ink is used, maintaining pressure without the need for holes. Fountain pens rely on more complex feed systems, using capillary action to regulate flow. Some specialized pens, like those used by astronauts, use pressurized cartridges that can write in zero gravity or underwater, obviating the need for any air holes at all. But BC's solution is elegant in its simplicity: a small hole, a big difference. You might be tempted to experiment. Try covering the barrel hole with tape and see what happens. At first, your pen will still write, but as you continue, the ink will slow, skip, and eventually stop, starved of air. Remove the tape, and normal service resumes. It's a simple demonstration of how crucial this tiny feature is. Beyond their technical function, these holes also contribute to the pen's durability and affordability. Adding a ventilation system using moving parts or expensive materials would increase the pen's cost and complexity. The humble hole, by contrast, is a low-cost, reliable solution that works for millions of pens produced every day. In summary, those two tiny holes in every Bic pen, the one in the barrel and the one in the cap, are not just design quirks. They are essential features that enable the pen to work reliably in all sorts of conditions, while also providing critical safety for users. Each time you sign your name or jot a note, you're benefiting from decades of careful engineering, distilled into the simplest of forms. It's a reminder that even the smallest details can make a world of difference.